Alrighty, so just like last week in terms of my review where I did something out of the ordinary, decided to review part one right after when the Saturday night action complete and then do part two on Sunday. This week in terms of the review, I'm going to do something ordinary again, and that of course is I'm actually going to do the entire review of match week number 12, and that means that this video is going to be incredibly long, so yeah, sit back, relax, and certainly grab maybe even a water because I'll definitely need this throughout this video to basically talk about all the action and all the games that has happened in terms of this match week because there were definitely some interesting storylines and especially if you like goals, this was definitely the week for you because there were tons of goals that were scored. Like literally the first 7 games, 4 out of those first 7 games ended with a scoreline of 2 goals to 3. And that includes the first game I'm going to talk about, which is Atlanta versus DC United, and Atlanta is in deep trouble. This is now 3 straight home games that they have lost so far this season, and that has never happened for Atlanta until right now. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Bartlett hits it wide, as that was actually the only shot of the first 15 minutes of this game. So it didn't really start out very well in terms of the action, but it picked up in the 15th minute as a penalty was given to Atlanta after Yakimakis was brought down in the box by McVeigh, which Amada steps up to take the penalty, and he bears it. So that made it 1-0 in favor of Atlanta United. But that lead did not last long. In fact, it only lasts 3 minutes as Benteke would score from Shroud and Herrera to tie the game up at 1 apiece. Benteke was completely left unmarked in that. He had a free header there. That would be a key theme throughout this game, and really the main reason why Atlanta lost this one because they could not stop Benteke even if they tried to do in the air. Now, in the 25th minute, Amada did look to respond, but he hits it right to Bono before Herrera would miss wide from long range. Guzan would absolutely rob Coutinho from close range. I gotta say, I gotta feel bad for Ted Coutinho this season. He's had some shots that just getting absolutely robbed by opposition goalkeeper, and still definitely looking to try to score his first goal of the season. But that being said, that also came off a bad turnover for Atlanta in that moment, and yeah, that also would be a theme throughout this game as well. Just like how in the 44th minute, Benteke would score again. This time he scored from Shroud once again to make it 2-0 in favor of DC. And I know Benteke is going to grab the headline, but what a game Jared Shroud has. His delivery into the box were amazing, and that kind of allowed Benteke to basically do whatever he wants in the air because Atlanta just simply cannot stop him. And again, yeah, once again, just Benteke completely left unmarked in the box. You would think that after you got beaten by the same man one time, they would maybe mark him the second time, but Atlanta defense feel like yeah, they're not having any of it. But we do head to halftime with DC leading 2-1, and in the second half, it didn't take long for Atlanta to tie the game up, as Portola, of course, was the one that is registered as an own goal. And the reason why I said that they gave this as an own goal for Patola is that originally it was supposed to be given to Lobjanidze, and I feel like it should have been given to Lobjanidze because I think that one was on target, and it's unfortunate that it took a wicked deflection off of Matty Patola and it goes into the net. But nevertheless, Atlanta wouldn't care. The game was all tied up at 2 apiece, but it did not stay tied for long because 7 minutes later, guess who? It's Christian Benteke. He scored from Click to make it 3-2 in favor of DC. I think this is the first time in a very long time we have seen a player score a hat trick only with his head. Because once again, not only just bad set piece defending here, but you know Guzan just got completely they caught footed there. Not the first time we have seen Guzan getting caught flat footed this season, and probably should have one that yeah he probably should have saved. But yeah, that made it 3-2 in this game. Hopkins did pulse it wide from long range before he would puts it high from long range in the 59th minute, as the momentum was definitely for DC. They were pressing to try to get the fourth goal. Yakimakis on the other end would puts it wide from close range before Click puts it wide from long range. Guzan then denied Click, but it almost trickled in. Again, this also wouldn't have been a great goal for Guzan to concede, but to Guzan credit, he did palm that one away as it was trickled and was able to save that one off the line. There was no doubt the DC continued to look to close this game out and get the fourth goal, but I'm just wondering, where is the pushback from Atlanta? Like you're down 3-2. You're in a situation where the fans are obviously not happy with the performance and that they desperately needed points and avoid dropping another home game. And there's no pushback whatsoever. And it's no surprise that at the full time whistle, the boos were raining down hard at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Like I can even hear it while I was watching this game because yeah, Atlanta for the first time in their team history, they have lost three straight home games as they lose 3-2 in this one. And the shots in this one, 14 shots for the 15 that DC had, 6 shots on goal for the 3 that Atlanta has, 3 shots off target for the 6 that DC had, 2 shots that was blocked for the 8 that Atlanta has, and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to the 40% possession that DC has in this game. And I don't know, a couple of weeks where I made a video of head coaches that is in the hottest seat ranking that I put Gonzalo Pineda on that list. And I think the reason why I didn't put it is because Atlanta was still doing well. I think we can safely say we need to add him onto the list because yeah, Gonzalo Pineda and Carlos Bocanegra, both of them are feeling a lot of heat right now, and I would not be surprised that if this bad run continue and this clip them falling off the cliff, Atlanta kind of continue throughout these next couple of weeks. So Banana might find himself on the unemployment nine because yeah, for a team that is as talented as this is, there is no way in the world they should look this bad and on this bad winless run that they're on. But on the other hand, for DC United, I gotta say, finally, it's finally started to show that I've said it many times throughout the season where I feel like DC have been playing really well and they've been one of the better team in the East, but the resort doesn't show it. Last couple of weeks, it's finally shown it, and it's no surprise that they've now moved up as high as fifth in the Eastern Conference. That being said, moving on in the next match is Charlotte versus Nashville, and I'm not gonna lie, this was the game out of pretty much most of the game from this match week, where it was kind of a bit of a dull game. But I kind of expected it because both of these teams, they haven't been world beaters in terms of scoring goals, and both of these teams. Well, one team of course is struggling to score a goal. The other team kind of play a style of soccer that be prettiest to watch, but it's enough to get it over the line, and that's kind of what Charlotte FC did in this one against Nashville. But like I said, in the first 15 minutes, if you missed the first 15 minutes of this game, you did not miss much. There was nothing happened in the first 15 minutes. The first shot of the game came in the 16th minute as Mukhtar would put it onto the roof of the net. Mule then flashed one wide from the near post before Willis absolutely robbed Ajiman there. But then on the follow up, Westwood had a chance from long range, but he puts it high as the flag went up for offside. And I gotta say that is probably one of the most delay offside I've seen in MLS, and probably the most delay offside I've seen this season. I mean that took like about 20 or 25 seconds, and I get it. You want to keep the flag down when the play is going, but man, that went on for a long time, and I feel like if and looking at that, I feel like it was pretty obvious that it was offside. So if that's the case, I mean, just put your flags up. There's no really need to continue for another 20 plus second before you finally raise the flag for offside. But that being said, in the 33rd minute, Godoy would hit one right to Kalina before the year would hit it right to Kalina in the 39th minute. As I thought Nashville started to build some chances, but unfortunately, most of these chances that they created hasn't really threatening Kalina at all. I mean, notice how I mentioned a couple of these chances hits one right to Kalina. I mean, it's counted as a save for Kalina, but certainly almost like he's padding the stats with the way that some of these one hopper or some of these shots that hits right to Kalina just didn't really have a lot of power, and it's easy for Kalina to deal with. But we do head to halftime, scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Kalina would deny Mukhtar as the flag went up, so even if that went in, it wouldn't have counted. Vargas then gets it set, or he puts it wide in the near post, but then in the 52nd minute, Ajiman would score. He scored here from Vargas to make it 1-0 in favor of Charlotte. And I gotta say, Patrick Ajiman, he's definitely proving every way that he's probably the number 9 for this Charlotte team that they needed. And I think think you could say that this is kind of hit his time, knowing the fact that Enzo Capetti. It seems like there's rumor that he might be being on from Charlotte FC, and I know Charlotte is looking to try to get a DP number 9 in the summer. But Patrick Argiman is trying to think that he wants to lock that spot long term, and if he can continue to score goals like he has in this game and eventually scoring the winner, he can maybe get that spot, and maybe Charlotte might not actually need to find a DP number 9. So that being said, he did look for another in the 58th minute, but this time he puts it right to Willis. By the way, the goal that Ajiman scored, that was actually really a good goal too that he scored. Not goal of the week contention, because we'll definitely get to some of the goal of the week contention from this match week. In the 61st minute, Diago then puts one right to Willis. We then go for a period where not much really happened, which I mean not only favored Charlotte, but I feel like it was by design, with the way that it feels like Charlotte is giving Nashville a little taste of their own medicine. We know Nashville, when they go up, they tend to kind of slow the pace down and really not allowing too much happening, and giving up too many chances to their opposition because of them staying compact. Charlotte is basically giving Nashville a little taste of their own medicine with the way that they're playing that similar style as well. Though that being said, in the 86th minute, Moore would hits one right to Kalina before Tavares would hits one right to Willis in the 87th minute. But in the end, it's Charlotte winning 1-0 in this one. And the shots in this game, not a lot of shots in this one. Only 8 shots compared to 6 that Nashville has. 4 shots on goal compared to 3 that Nashville has. 3 shots off target compared to 4 that Charlotte has. 2 shots off block compared to 1 that Nashville has. And possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that Nashville has in this game. So, a bit of a dull game if you watch this as a neutral compared to the other game that I'm about to talk about. But hey, Charlotte fans wouldn't care. They get another 3 points in this one and keep climbing up in the standings. But for Nashville, after that one great performance against Montreal, they look like they're back to square one in terms of the problem that they've been having this season, which is a team that just simply cannot not score goals, and none of their impact attack like Mokhtar and Surge pretty much showed up in this game whatsoever. Now, that being said, moving on in the next match is Philly and Orlando City, and I'm not gonna lie, this game looked like it was never gonna end. Like, this game literally had probably one of the longest stoppage time that I've seen in MLS history. I think this was pretty close to the record that we saw last season between the Quakes and the Red Bulls, because that game had like 20 plus minutes of stoppage time, and obviously for an unfortunate reason in the second half. But I think because there was a lot of stoppage time in the second half, mainly because there was an injury that happened that had a long delay. And unfortunately, it involved Robin Janssen, which is definitely a bad news for Orlando. And again, they did win in this one, but that might come with a price. And not to mention, they also have 2 VAR replay in the second half. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Torres struck the post from close range, and that shot kind of sums up his season so far. I mean, Falco Torres, it's been a very frustrating season for him. He has nothing like the player that he's been with Orlando for the past couple of seasons. But in the 12th minute, the Union takes the lead. It's Mikael Urum. He scored from Hariel to make it 1-0 in favor of the Union. That was also the first shot for the Union in this game. So definitely ideal if you're the team that score the goal in your first shot, but definitely not ideal for the team that conceded the goal. Galese then denied Gasek from close as the Union was pressing for the second goal. However, Moriel would puts it over from long range, and then in the 21st minute, it's big dunk. Maguire, he scored from Moriel to make it 1-0 in, or not 1-0, but ties the game up at one apiece between both of these teams. Luis Moriel definitely had his coming out party in this game, and finally too, because this has been something that Orlando City fans been waiting for a very, very long time. In the 29th minute, Uru did look to respond, but he missed wide there before he puts it right to Galese in the 35th. Cartagena then puts it wide from long range, but then in the 42nd minute, Orlando restored their lead, and it's Luis Moriel finally scoring his first career MLS goal from Angulo to make it 2-1 in favor of Orlando. And if you're going to score your first career MLS goal, definitely do it in style. I mean, that was just a banger there from Luis Muriel. But in the 44th minute, Bedoya did try to respond, but he hits it right to Galese before McLean puts it wide from close range. The Union was definitely pressing late to try to get the lead back up up to this point, or actually no, not the lead back, but getting the equalizer up to this point. Ladero had a shot that took a deflection and goes wide before Simley had to deny McGuire as he was in on goal in the fourth minute stoppage time, and just like that, the script has flipped. It looked like now the Lions are the one that is looking to trying to get the lead, as Orlando was pressing hard to get the 3-1 lead heading into the latter part of stoppage time in the first half. But we do head to halftime with Orlando leading 2-1. They would get that 3-1 lead, and they would get it very quick because in the 46th minute, just 20 seconds into the second half, Luis Montreal would score his second career MLS goal as he scored from Ladero to make it 3-1 in this one. And that not only is vintage Nico Ladero there, almost reminds you a little bit of him doing his peak with the Seattle Sounders. But once again, Luis Montreal definitely having his coming out party in this one, finally living up to the DP tag that he was supposed to be. But that lead looked like it was cut in one within one once again, as in the 53rd minute. Sullivan would score here, but his goal was disallowed for offside on the development of play. And then a penalty was given to the Union in the 61st minute as VAR deemed that Ladero handballed this one into the box. So that allowed Daniel Gastek to step up to take the penalty. He's not going to miss a penalty. I mean, he hasn't missed so far this season, and up to this point, he still hasn't missed as he buries this one to make it 2-2, or no, not 2-2. I'm sorry, 3-2 in favor of Orlando City. Notice how I said that up to this point he hasn't missed a penalty. Daniel Gastek. In the 72nd minute, Glesnes would heads it wide from close range before Uru would put it over on the doorstep of goal. Galese then denied Uru on a 1v1, and then Glesnes would puts it wide from long range, and this is when the Union was pressing hard for this equalizer. This is when you're starting to see a Oscar Pereira side that we've seen before, where they just hang on for dear life and praying that them parking the bus on the road would be enough to get all 3 points. And to be fair, it has worked out more often than not, but that obviously is something you definitely do not want to do when you're on the road, especially against the Philadelphia Union. And it's no surprise that, with all the pressure that the Union was putting, eventually it resulted in a chance for the Union to get the equalizer, as in the 86th minute, another penalty was given to the Union as Angulo was brought down, or Angulo brought down Hario in the box. So that, once again, give Daniel Gastek to score his second goal and ties the game up. I mean, he's not going to miss a penalty. He hasn't missed a penalty so far in his MLS career until now. As Galese would deny Gastek from the spot, and then Gastek, to be fair, he had a chance to follow up on the save there, but he puts that one over the bar, and that again is the first time in Daniel Gastek MLS career and doing his time with the Union he has missed a penalty. And yeah, unfortunately, that's probably not the best time to do so, especially a chance to tie the game up at 3 apiece. The good news though for the Union is that we would get 15 minutes of stoppage time because there was two VAR replay, and there was also a lengthy injury delay for Robin Janssen that actually didn't wrote here. But in the second minute of stoppage time, Lowe puts it over from close range, and then we have Donovan hits it wide from close in the 12th minute of stoppage time. This game lasted for so long that the game between Cincinnati and Columbus, the Hell Israel Derby, that started 16 minutes after all the 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific kickoff, actually finished around the same time as this game. That's how long this game went on. But there was no doubt that Orlando fans were on life support. I mean, I'm pretty sure Orlando fans, they were definitely not happy when they saw that 15 minute, and they were especially not happy the fact that their team was just almost on 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 or just not only dancing with fire, but just pretty much walking on the tightest rope you can imagine. But in the 19-minute stoppage time, Hario missed a free header here. Oh, this is going to be one that Nathan Hario would want to have back. In fact, the Union, they had a lot of chances in this one to tie the game up and even score more than the 2 goals in this one. They don't, as in the end, just like Atlanta, the Union have lost 3 in a row at home. This is the first time that this has happened since 2011 as they lose 3-2 to Orlando City in this one. And the shots in this one, oh my goodness, 32 shots in this one compared to 13 that Orlando has. They mentioned that the Union had an expectancy goal of 3.76, which is like the highest of any team to have that much of an expectancy go and lose a game, and that's kind of surprising because I thought Orlando had even a higher xG in the game against Minnesota when they lost that one, but nope, the Union had the highest, and that it kind of showed when they had 32 of them compared to 13 that Orlando City has in terms of shots. 7 shots on goal for the 4 that Orlando has, 12 shots off target for the 5 that Orlando has, 7 shots that was blocked for the 9 that the Union has, and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to 40% possession that Orlando has in this one. So yeah, Orlando, they desperately needed this win, but again, it could come with a heavy price if Robin Janssen is going to be out for maybe a couple weeks, or even worse, long term as well, as he got stretcher off. I mean, they've already a very thin at the back line. They cannot afford to lose their most important defender, but for the Union, oh my god, this has to be a very frustrating game. And that kind of sums up this season too. It's been a very frustrating season for the Philadelphia Union. And it's not mainly because of the attack. The attack has been great. The defense has not been great. I mean, once again, 3 goals being shifted here. That is something you do not see the Union do very often, especially at home, but it feels like it's been happening more times or not because of the way that the defense has really underachieved, and Jim Kern has to be very upset because of that. That being said, moving on in terms of the next match is Toronto versus NYCFC, and we'll definitely get to talk about the big headlines at the end of this game because I think that's kind of the storyline coming out of this game, and it could definitely be a storyline as we head into the midweek action. Now, in the first half, the straight from the kickoff, Freeze kick from a back pass was blocked by Owusu there. So yeah, that was very lucky for Matt Freeze. The fact that not only it was blocked by Owusu, but he was able to catch there, and almost a very disastrous moment there for NYCFC. But then the post would deny Osorio on the curler before on the other end, Martins would put it wide from close range in the 12th minute, as I thought it was a lively start for both of these teams early on in this game. Johnson would then deny Jones from close range. I mean, to be fair, in previous fixture between both of these teams, there's always tends to be some high scoring affair between both of these teams, and we saw it again here because in the 21st minute, a penalty was given to NYCFC after VAR being that Kevin Long handballed this one in the box, which allows Santi Rodriguez to score from the spot, and he does. So he gives NYCFC a 1-0 lead. Owusu did look to respond, but he was absolutely robbed by Matt Freese from point blank. This was probably one of the best games that Matt Freese has had doing his career with NYCFC. In the 41st minute, Rolsted would put one right to Freeze as Toronto was pressing hard to try to get the equalizer, but in the 43rd minute, Malachi Jones scored his first career MLS goal as he scored from Wolf to make it 2-0 in this game. Really kind of against the run of plays too, because up to this point, Toronto looked like they had a chance to try to tie the game up with some sustained pressure. But Owusu then had a free header there, but he hits that one wide. Yeah, that's one that Prince Owusu will want to have back, and one that's a dream scenario for a number 9, and one that he's got to have to bury. But in the 4th minute stoppage time, Benedeschi would then had a shot that took a deflection and it was held on by Freeze, but we do head to halftime with NYCFC leading 2-0. That lead would cut in half in the second half, as in the 55th minute, Benedeschi would get on the score sheet here to reduce the deficit to half before Freeze would tip long header over. But again, the momentum was with Toronto. They were once again pressing hard to try to get the equalizer, but the question is, can they solve Matt Freeze? I mean, they solve him once, but can they solve him again? Because he's definitely on his game in this one. He would then deny Insigne in the 77th minute. So Lorenzo Insigne back with TFC in this one. Definitely good news if you're a TFC fan. But what is not good news is Herrera scoring for NYCFC, as he scored here from Wolves to make it 3-1 in favor of NYCFC, completely against the run of play, because up to this point, PFC was really building some momentum, and just like that, hits back to a 2-goal deficit, and and just really a backbreaker moment there for TFC. Owusu then hits one right to freeze before in the 89th minute. Raul Petrita would score from long snap to reduce the deficit back to one. And what a volley this is from Petrita. I mean, he usually doesn't score a lot of goals, but when he does, he definitely scores some wonder goals. But yeah, that made it a 3-2 game, and it just feels like it's basically squeaky bum time for NYCFC because yeah, TFC was throwing the kitchen sink late to to trying to get the equalizer. Freeze would then deny Bernadeschi from close range, and then when the full time whistle was blown, Bernadeschi was absolutely fuming at the referee, and I think he was fuming, and certainly TFC was fuming about this because there probably should have been more time added because there was some delay during stoppage time, and the referee blown exactly right on the minimum of stoppage that we had. And the fact that he already had a yellow card, yeah, the referee was having none of it. He immediately showed the second yellow card there. So yeah, that definitely not a great moment for Federico Benedeschi. Not only getting sent off in that moment, but now he's gonna miss the next game. But that was not the biggest storyline out of this game. The big storyline is what happened after that. So there was definitely some tempers that was really boiled over, and it looks like Johnson and Tenet Civic was in the middle of it. You know, Sean Johnson, he's not a guy that usually loses his cool very often, but he was very hot toward Tenet Civic, and we don't know exactly what, of course, he said to really upset Sean Johnson. And yeah, that's still not the biggest headline out of this game because the biggest headline coming out of this game, and this maybe could be an investigation that the league might be looking at in, is some of the things that both of these head coaches said in their post game press conference. So it's all started with John Herman basically accused Nick Cushing of the fact that he punched some of his player in the last fixture between both of these teams. Because remember, the last fixture between both of these teams were pretty heated too, especially at halftime when there was a bit of a tempers flare moment happen, and that John Herman says that yeah, Nick Cushing he definitely did something to his player. Now Nick Cushing basically immediately responded in his press game conference and saying he denied all allegation that of course that has happened. And yeah, now it's going to be interesting to see whether or not the league is going to investigate this. I mean, surely they have to investigate on this. This is definitely a very serious matter, and again, we'll see how this is, of course, is going to go. But somebody tells me that it's safe to say that neither of these teams love to play each other, especially this season. It's unfortunate that this, of course, is the final game of the or final series of the regular season, unless of course they play in the playoffs. Which, by the way, if they play in the playoffs, and especially if this headline of what both these head coaches said is going to play out, it's being for a spicy kind of affair between both of these teams. But that being said, in terms of shots in this one, 16 shots compared to 12 that NYCFC had. 4 shots on goal compared to 11 that TFC has. So yeah, Matt Freese was definitely standing on his head at time in this one. 2 shots off target compared to 1 that TFC had. 3 shots that was blocked for the 6 that NYCFC had. And possession-wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession that NYCFC has. Certainly a good bounce back performance after their disappointing result against Colorado. And for TFC, they didn't play badly in this game. But they just ran into Matt Freese, who pretty much I wouldn't say he stole 3 points for NYCFC because I thought NYCFC played well themselves, but certainly he definitely helped NYCFC in big part getting a big 3 points on the road in this game. With that being said, I am now going to switch boards and look at the next 4 games as part of this long mega review that I'm doing for match week number 12. So moving on in the next match is Montreal and Miami, and I gotta say, Montreal they play hard against Inter Miami. I mean, between them and Nashville, although not recently, they really give Inter Miami a little bit of a living hell whenever Inter Miami face those two team. And here, Montreal they gave Miami all they can handle, and I would argue they were the better team in this game over Miami, but unfortunately, they weren't able to stop Miami high end talent in this game. But in the first half, Duke would hit one that was deflected off the wall and out, and that was actually the only shot for the first 15 minutes of this game. Messi would then put a free kick high 22 yards out, but then in the 22nd minute, Bryce Duke would score against his former team, as he scored here from Drew Anthony Versailles to make it 1-0 in favor of Montreal. Counter would then deny Charnier from close range before Lassiter would fires it wide from long range in the 29th minute. Montreal was definitely cooking early in this one. They were looking to try to get another goal in this one. And they do, as Drew Anthony Vincent would score here from Lassiter to make it 2-0 in favor of Montreal. And, up to this point, obviously, Montreal fans are probably very happy to see this. But remember, this is Inter Miami. And we have seen before where it doesn't matter if Inter Miami is down big in this one, they will always find themselves a way to climb back into this game. Duke would then fires it right to counter in the 38th minute. I mentioned it was all Montreal up to this point. The Miami defense clearly did not show up in the first half in this one, but one thing that did show up is their attack, as in the 44th minute, Miguel Rojas. Boy, how good is he and how good of a pickup Miami just got, because he scored here to reduce the deficit, and this is hands down the goal of the week. I mean, I know there's definitely some good goal of the week contention in other resort, but this is definitely going to be goal of the week because Miami fans are going to be stuffing the votes, but also just an unbelievable free kick goal. Like, everybody was expecting Messi to take this free kick from about like 30 yards out, but fact that it wasn't Messi but Rojas the one to do so, and the fact that it basically hits top end from that sort of a range. Take a bow, Miguel Rojas. Just unbelievable here. That reduced the deficit, and also it was kind of completely against the run of play because I talk about the defense kind of not showing up for Miami. The attack was kind of lackluster for Miami early on, but you know that when Miami attack gets going, oh boy, you better believe they definitely get going, because it didn't take long for them to tie the game up, as Luis Suarez in the third minute stoppage time would tie the game up at 2 apiece. Yeah, that Uruguay superstar number nine in the box there. Yeah, maybe you need to try to mark him, because Montreal definitely did not get that memo. He was completely left unmarked on the set piece. Like, that is just criminal defending there from Montreal, and not the first time we said it too, because the Montreal defense this season, it has not been good. It's been just as bad as what we saw last season under Hernan Losada. Well, we do head to halftime with the score tied up at 2 apiece in the second half. By Satan would puts it right to counter before Duke would puts it over from long range, as Montreal has started well as they were pushing to try to get the lead back. But instead, Miami would get the lead for the first time in the game, as Kamowski would score from Rojas to make it 3-2 in this game. So yeah, Rojas, good game continued, getting on the score sheet here. And that also was only the fourth shot for Miami. So Miami was definitely being very clinical in this game, as what we have seen, especially in the second half against the New York Red Bulls. Yankov then hits one right to counter in the 69th minute before Ibrahim with fires it wide from long range. Or not Miami, I'm sorry. Montreal was pressing hard now for the equalizer, and Miami kind of seemed like they were holding on a little bit, trying to maybe preserve this 3-2 lead. Siwaz did deny Messi in the front post before Waterman would hit one into the side netting on the volley. I think this is the first game that Messi has played for Miami this season where he's not involved on the score sheet or on the assist chart. So while Montreal did a good job in terms of shutting down the goal, yeah, they weren't unfortunately able to shut down the Miami lethal attack, because in the end, Miami, they come from behind and win 3-2 in this one, even though they didn't play relatively well in this game. And the shots in this one kind of just shows you that Montreal probably should have got something out of this one. 16 shots for the 7 that Miami has. 4 shots on goal for the 6 that Montreal has. 2 shots off target for the 4 that Montreal has. 6 shots out of block for the 1 that Miami has. And possession-wise, 52% possession compared to 48% possession that Miami has in this game. And I think this kind of game also kind of proves to you that you better bring your A game when you face against Inter Miami, and you have to pretty much play a perfect game against Inter Miami, and also hope that Messi and his friends is not in the lineup, because when they're in the lineup, and if you don't play a perfect game, yeah, you're probably not going to win, even if you take a big lead heading into the game. But that being said, moving on, in the next match is the Red Bulls and New England. So yeah, this game was a bit tight, at least for a bit, and then late in this game there was definitely a lot of goals that was scored in this one. In fact, this one looked like it was gonna join the 3-2 party, because there was a lot of resort that ended 3-2. but the Red Bulls did get another, and that it actually ends up to be a 6 goal thriller. And they actually score very early in this game, as in the 6th minute, Lewis Morgan, he's back on the score sheet. He scored from Neelis here to make it 1-0 in favor of the Red Bulls. That also was the first shot of the game in this one. Ivasic then denied token on the free kick, as I thought the Red Bulls were by far the better team, at least early in this game. They were looking to try to get the second. The post would then deny Frostburg from close range, and then in the 24th minute, Carlos Gil would score from Shankalai to tie the game up at 1 apiece, and that was really unexpected because that not only was the first shot for New England, but really that was the first time New England really looked threatening up to that point, just completely against the run of plays. Cornell then denied Shankalai from long range before Ismail Baratovic would fires it high from long range, and really all of a sudden the momentum was with New England. It feels like that equalizer really rejuvenated them, but as they were looking to try to get the lead up to this point, but the Red Bulls would get a penalty in the 41st minute, as VAR deemed that Kessler handballed this one in the box, which allowed Emil Frostberg to score on the spot just like last week, and he does it again this time to make it 2-1. In this one, Carmona didn't try to make it 3-1, but he puts it wide from long range, and we do head to halftime with the Red Bulls leading 2-1. In the second half, Baroni would find the side netting in the near post before Hugh would put one right to Cornell. I thought it was a good start for the Revs in the second half, as they were looking to try to get the equalizer again. Fast forward in the 78th minute, Arriaga would head one right to Cornell from the corner. And then in the 84th minute, the Red Bulls look like they put this game away, as Elias Manuel would score from Carmona and Ailey to make it 3-1 in this one. But in the 90th minute, Baroni would score from Boateng and Harks to make it 3-2, and you just thinking that, well, maybe there's a no. In the third minute of stoppage time, Cameron Harper makes sure this game is over, as he scored from Morgan and Manuel to make it 4-2 in this game. By the way, the Baroni goal in the 90th minute, VAR actually overruled the original decision that was deemed offside, but it didn't really matter because, like I said, Harper pretty much says goodnight in this one to make it 4-2 in this game, and that's the final score of this one. As the Red Bulls, they get themselves a win once again at home. They remain unbeaten this season at Red Bull Arena, and also a big bounce back performance. I mean, last week they got absolutely killed in the second half against Inter Miami, so it's good for them to bounce back in this one, even though they were playing against the worst team in the league, that is the New England Revolution. Shots in this one, 15 shots compared to 12 that the Revs had. Both teams had 6 shots on goal, 2 shots off target for the one the Revs had, 5 shots that was blocked for the 6 that the Red Bulls had, and possession-wise, 63% possession compared to 37% possession the Red Bulls has in this game. Now, moving on in the next one is the Hell is Real derby between Cincinnati versus Columbus. And I gotta say, for Cincinnati, play a perfect road game in this one to get themselves revenge for that Eastern Conference final loss. And also kind of maybe give Columbus a little taste of their own medicine in terms of the Eastern Conference, with them scoring 2 quick goals to come from behind to win. Well, actually, not come from behind, but really take a command lead in this game. Now, in the first half, Kubo would have the first shot of the derby, but he missed high there. It was a bit of a cagey affair early in this How is Real derby, as there was only one shot for both of these teams through 15 minutes. That tends to do happen in terms of these big derby games. I mean, unless your name is not El Trafico, you know that these derby games sometimes can be very cagey, especially when you have two really good teams facing off against each other. Salentano would then deny Rossi in the back post before Cucho would hit one right to Salentano, as Columbus started to get some sustained pressure. They were looking to try to get the opening goal. Though on the other end, Schulte would deny Kubo as the halftime whistle was sound. So imagine if Kubo scored there. That would have been a dream scenario for Cincinnati to get the goal right on the stroke of halftime and really change the team talk heading into the second half. But instead, we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, the post would deny Rossi on the header before Schulte would deny Oriano from close range. Kubo would then hit it high on the volley before Morris would put it just wide from long range. As the chances were definitely coming for both of these team. No, they're both of these team definitely want to get that crucial opening goal. But the question is, who can do so in this derby? Well, Valenzuela tried to do so, but he hits one right to Schulte in the 72nd minute. But then in the 74th minute, Kelsey would score his first career MLS goal, and what a way to do it as he scored from Acosta and Buka to make it 1-0 in favor of Cincinnati. Rossi did look to respond, but he hits one right to Salatano. I mean, Diego Rossi basically is just not allowed to score a goal in league play. He's only allowed to score in the CONCACAF Champions League Cup, but it feels like this season he's not allowed to score in league play. But then in the 76th minute, just 2 minutes after Cincinnati takes the lead, they make it 2-0. As Lucho Acosta basically show you why he won MVP last season, as he scored here from Buca and Oriano to make it 2-0 in favor of Cincinnati. I mean, just completely cut open that Columbus defense with some individual effort and just coolly slots it in to make it 2-0 in favor of Cincinnati. Ramirez did hit one right to Salatano, but then in the 89th minute, Arson would score. So that made it a one-goal game, and this is where you're Cincinnati fans, yeah, that maybe give you some bad flashback of what happened last year in the Eastern Conference Final because it was it was kind of the same score line with them winning 2-0 and then giving up a goal against Columbus, and that yeah, they were worried that things were going to be like that. Well, in the first minute of stoppage time, Cucho would miss wide on the header before he missed wide again from close range in the fourth minute of stoppage time. Notice this is actually the first time I mentioned Cucho name in this Hell is Real Derby. He had a very quiet game in this one, and that also credit to the fact that Cincinnati really did a good job in terms of shutting him down throughout this game. But again, Cincinnati, again, they were holding on for dear life because they know that they've seen this story before in the Eastern Conference Final. The good news for them is that they were able to hold on to the 2-0 lead in this one, as in the end, they get the revenge against Columbus in that Eastern Conference Final. They win 2-1 in this one. Shots of this one, 14 shots with the 9 that Cincinnati had, 6 shots on goal with the 4 that Columbus had, 2 shots off target with the 4 that Columbus had, 3 shots off block with the 1 that Cincinnati has, and possession-wise, 54% possession compared to the 46% possession that Cincinnati has in this game. And that, yeah, Cincinnati, they keep pace with Inter Miami in terms of the top battle for the top standing in the Eastern Conference and also the Supporter Shield race as well. But for Columbus, yeah, the winless run can continue. It's hard to believe that Columbus have not won a league game since March, and that I know they have CONCACAF Champions Cup commitment, and they've been doing amazing in that competition, and I hope for the best that they will do that when they face Pachuca in that final. But obviously, this is kind of the CCCL, or in this case, the triple C tax that Columbus is basically paying, and that it could be a bit of a hefty tax because these next couple of games that they're going to be playing are all on the road. They're going to be going through a lengthy road trip, and Columbus has done well at least this season on the road. And they're gonna have to hope to do so, especially with the way that they're not really doing that well in the standings, mainly because they really put all their eggs in one basket in terms of some CONCACAF Champions Cup glory. With that being said, moving on into the last game on this board before I once again have to erase all the thing on the board and basically put on the notes for the last 6 game from match week number 12 is the Copa TL match between Dallas and Austin. And I gotta say, Dallas really stole this one because for once, Austin actually played very well on the road. And for once, they actually didn't just register 5 shots in the entire game. But it didn't also help the fact that just 4 minutes into this game, they shot themselves in the foot because in the fourth minute, Pedro Musa would score to make it 1-0 in favor of Dallas, and it was a gift because it came off a WTF turnover from Austin there, but Musa wouldn't care, and certainly Dallas wouldn't care. I mean, they haven't had a lot of luck in front of goal, so they'll definitely take all the gifts that their opposition gave to them, and just like that, they made it 1-0 in this game. We'll let that lead quickly disappear when Rigoni puts it into the back of the net. But remember, Rigoni is not allowed to have some good thing doing his time with Los Verdes, except for certain situation that that's when kind of hell has frozen over. As he put the ball into the back of the net, the problem was the goal was disallowed because the whistle was already blown before, for a free kick for Austin, and Austin was not happy about that. They feel like advantage probably should have been played because of it. Rubio would then heads it right to pause in the 12th minute, as I thought Austin has responded well. They were pushing to get the equalizer. Rubio would hit one right to pause before O'Brien trying to score against his former team, but he missed wide on the header. And the post would deny Burrow from close, as Dallas was definitely walking a very tight rope because it was all Austin up to this point. Again, it feels very strange seeing Austin playing very well on the road, and I'm pretty sure for Austin FC fans they feel the same way because this team, this season on the road, it's been just kind of like just parking the bus and hope and pray you can get one chance and maybe get a squeak out a 1-0 result. But here they were actually putting some sustained pressure, and Dallas, they look very vulnerable in this one. Burrow would then hits it wide on the header, and we do head to halftime with Dallas leading 1-0, despite the fact that Austin were by far the better team in this one. And that would be the story again in the second half, as Rigoni went miss wide from close range because he's not allowed to have some good things. Before pass with denied Cascante from the near post, it was all Austin once again, and you just kind of had a feeling that eventually Austin would break through. But then in the 56th minute, Dallas would make it 2-0 as Jesus Ferreira coming back from this team as he scored from Delgado to make it 2-0 in this one, and again just completely against the run of play, and it was just really just a simple through ball there to Ferreira that Austin feel like Jesus Ferreira was in an offside position. He was not. He made a perfect run here, and with all the pressure that Austin has, yet Dallas leads 2-0 in this one. Delgado then missed wide from long range, and I feel like that second goal really deflated this Austin team because they really didn't threatening this Dallas goal one bit ever since they conceded that second goal. It's almost like that was a gut punch for them of them just chasing the game, creating all these chances, and then they can see it and now find themselves 2-0 down on the road. Driussi would then puts it high from close range, but then a lifeline was given to Los Verdes as in the 82nd minute, a penalty was given to Austin as Tomasi brought down Wolf in the box, which allowed Driussi to get one back for Austin, and he does from the spot as he scored here to make it 2-1 in this one. And I mean, Ro, yeah, that bus is definitely going to be about to be firmly parked for Dallas because up to this point they were just parking the bus, they were just holding on and hope that they can win this game and squeak out a win. And Austin, they definitely look like they were trying to get some late game magic because that's kind of something we've seen Austin known for this season and even in their second season as well. Valencia would then fires it just high from long range, and then Fodry puts it wide off of a deflection in the near post. But despite all the pressure that Austin has, they lose this game. They lose 2-1 in this one as Dallas get another Copa Tias win. And the shots in this one, 10 shots compared to 18 that Austin has. Yeah, you're not reading that wrong. Austin actually had 18 shots in this game, and they're playing on the road. 5 shots on goal for the 3 that Dallas had. 2 shots off target for the 6 that Austin had. 6 shots that was blocked for the 5 that Dallas had. And possession-wise, 63% possession compared to 37% possession that Dallas has in this game. And again, maybe just a statement win and maybe a win like what I said with the Houston resort, maybe this will kick off a good start for this Dallas team that is having a really rough season. Before Austin, I guess maybe they might think about just going back to not shooting everywhere and maybe just getting like 5 or 6 shots to squeak out a win because it seems like that kind of works out better for them compared to in this game when they actually had chances and they end up on the losing end. But in all seriousness, it's just one of those games where we see the better team lose a game because they were being clinical, and Dallas, to their credit, they were being the more clinical in this game compared to Austin in this Copa TS match. With that being said, I'm now going to erase this board and the other board, and I'll be back in just a bit to talk about the last 6 games from match week number 12. All right, so next match we got Sporting KC versus the Houston Dynamo, and you know that meme where basically the alarm clock turns to 6 o'clock, and then the music basically play, and then the guy basically eventually just destroy the alarm clock because it feels like Groundhog's Day every single day. That's what Sporting KC fans are feeling about their team for the past couple of games, and really for the past month and a half now, because it happened again. Once again, Sporting KC either blow a lead or gave up a late goal to lose a game, and they did it again in this one against the Houston Dynamo. As in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Carrasquillo puts one right to Melia, and then Rodriguez would puts it wide after just a bad turnover from Houston. Kowitzik then hits one wide from close as the game started to open up with both of these teams really attacking very fast and some end-to-end action. Radoja did had a long-range effort that it would hit right to Clark, but then in the 31st minute, Hector Herrera scores. He scored here from Bossy to make it 1-0 in favor of the Dynamo. I wrote goal of the week with a question mark, but again, we probably already know who's going to win the goal of the week. But still, it was a great goal there from Hector Herrera, and it feels like, as Hector Herrera started to get his fitness and also his competitive sharpness back, we're starting to see the best of him, and this is definitely great news if you're a Houston Dynamo fan. Clark then hit Sherry shot over before Karaskia hits one right to Clark. Rodriguez would then hit one right to Clark after another bad giveaway from Houston. So turnover was a bit of a problem for both of these teams early in this game. And again, I thought that's kind of the thing that the Dynamo's got to watch out for. Well, I said it's for both teams, but it's mostly on the Houston Dynamo. But we do head to halftime with the Dynamo leading 1-0. In the second half, Dorsey puts it high from close before Agata was in on goal there, but he missed wide from close range. That moment also kind of sums up Agata season. It's been a bit of a rough season for William Agata, and it's been the case, but at least in these last two seasons. He has not been the same player ever since he suffered that injury last season. But in the 60th minute, Sporting KC does ties the game up, and boy, do Daniel Showery needs his goal. I mean, it's been a rough season for Daniel Showery, and it's not the first time we've seen this happen. He has had some rough season every now and then. Feels like this is one of those, but he scored here from Rodriguez to tie the game up at one apiece. I believe this is the first goal that Daniel Showery has scored, and we're in the month of May, right now. But in the 67th minute, Aliu looked to respond, but he was denied by Melia, and then he robbed Sevchenko on a point blank effort. I mean, that was just some cat-like reflexes there from Melia to rob Sevchenko on a point-blank header. And then in the 72nd minute, Bossy would hit one right to Melia, and I thought it was a good response for Houston as they were pressing for the winner and also the go-ahead goal. But you also kind of had a sense that that's coming. It's coming, isn't it? And I'm pretty sure that the fans inside Children Mercy Park not only had some nervy energy, but they feel like it's coming. The inevitable is going to happen. They're going to give up another late goal to lose games, and it happened in the 78th minute as Ali would score from Dorsey to give the Dynamo a 2-1 lead. I wrote it happening again. It just feels like it's a never-ending cycle for this team to just constantly give up late goals to lose games. But that being said, they had a chance to tie in the 88th minute, but Steve Clark with just an absolute robbery of Agata from point blank effort. And the Bluebirds definitely were raining down at Children Mercy Park at full time whistle because it's really the definition of insanity for Sporting KC right now. They just cannot stop giving up late goals to lose games, and this is the second game in a row they did that, losing 2-1 at home against the Houston Dynamo. The shots on this one, dead even at 14 apiece. 6 shots on goal for the 7 that the Dynamo has. 4 shots off target for the 2 that Sporting KC had. 6 shots that was blocked for the 2 that the Dynamo has. And possession-wise, 54% possession compared to 46% possession that Sporting KC had. And really, I think the only way that Sporting KC can stop doing this is just not have a game where they blow a lead or even just give up a late goal to lose games. I mean, you can clearly see the mentality of this team is at an all-time low. This is like when you have so many games like this, it's really started to almost place in the psyche that it's almost inevitable that it's gonna happen, and that's again something that they got to stop doing. Now they did do that last year when they had that miserable run to start the season. Got to do it again because until then, this is going to continue every single season, and I don't blame if Sporting KC fans might not even have hair left, even when we get into the summer transfer window, because a lot of Sporting KC fans must be pulling their hair out with the way that how many times this team has given up late goals every single game to lose in an embarrassing fashion. With that being said, moving on in the next one is St. Louis and Chicago. And would you look at that, St. Louis fan? He didn't draw a game for once. This is only what the fourth time this season that a St. Louis game did not end in a draw. Now, to be fair, they're playing against Chicago, and I hate to say this, Fire fan, but they're not very good. But St. Louis wouldn't care. They get a much needed 3 points and get a win of what seems like it's been a while since that has happened. But the first shot of the game did see Gutierrez puts one right to Berkey. And then the first shot for St. Louis is in the back of the net as Rasmus would score here to make it 1-0 in favor of St. Louis. And it was a beauty of a goal, too, from Rasmus. An absolute certified banger kind of goal there from him. And yeah, that gives St. Louis a 1-0 lead. Vasilev would then puts it wide from close range before Klaus with fires it wide from close. Pompeo would then miss wide as he was in on goal. St. Louis pretty much a shot out the cannon ever since they got that early goal. I mean, they were pushing hard for the second goal. In fact, the shots were already 5-2, 15 minutes into this game. Marcanic would then hits it right to Brady before Gutierrez on the other end with a rare chance for far, but he puts it wide and close. Up to this point, it was pretty much St. Louis City attack versus Brian Gutierrez attack. It was not Chicago Fire attack because Gutierrez so far really only had the free shots that the Fire has had. But I also thought the St. Louis got to be careful because again, as dominant as you've been, it's only 1-0, and we have seen before that against the run of play seems like was a big story of this week because I've said it many times. This week that there's been a lot of games that we've seen just games got kind of take a turn on the other direction, even though a team is dominating the game. Vasilev would then puts it wide from close, and then he puts it wide on the free kick in the 33rd minute. Brady would then deny Klaus from close range, and then he denied Vasilev on the free kick in the 40th minute. Chris Brady was the only reason Chicago is only down 1-0, and they're still in this game because, again, it's just wave after wave pressure. St. Louis could have easily been 2 or 3-0 up by this point. But we do head to halftime with St. Louis leading 1-0. And guess what? Remember how I said that this is also a week where against run of play seems to be a common theme, and that despite the fact the team is getting absolutely dominant, they somehow score a goal to completely flip the script. Well, that looked like it was the case at least a couple of seconds into the second half because 50 seconds into the second half, Hugo Kuipers would score from Chris Mueller to tie the game up at one apiece, and yeah, St. Louis just completely fall asleep coming out of the gate of that. But to their credit, they did get the lead back, as in the 56th minute, Joe Klaus would score from Pompeo to give St. Louis a 2-1 lead, and that definitely looked more like St. Louis, and certainly for Joe Klaus. I mean, it's been a bit of a struggle for him this season, but that looked like more of a Joe Klaus goal. Though that being said, you could also argue who was marking Klaus there, because yeah, when you let him that wide open, I mean, I know he hasn't been clinical, when you leave him that wide open, and especially a guy like Joe Klaus, yeah, he's gonna bury it. Pompeo then tried to chip Brady, but he missed that one wide before Gutman would hit it high in the near post. And then in the 67th minute, Joe Klaus would score again as he scored from Ostrak to give St. Louis the 3-1 lead. And once again, Klaus completely left a mark. I mean, you would think that after you make the mistake the first time that this far back line would realize, yeah, they really shouldn't lose Joe Klaus in the box, and nope. They lost him again in the 67th minute, and they found themselves 3-1 down. And again, up to this point, that's when you just know that it's done for the Chicago Fire. Totland did look for a fourth, but he missed high there before Jackson hits it right to Brady. Berkey would then deny Barlow from a point-blank effort before Adanaran would clear Shiho's header off the line in the 88th minute, as, Chicago was trying to make it a little interesting late in this one. Adanaran then puts it wide from long range, but in the end, it's St. Louis. Again, for once, they do not get a draw in this one. They get the 3 points in this one, a 3-1 win, and the shots in this one, 24 shots compared to 13 that Chicago has. Yeah, safe to say that Fire defense pretty much non-existent in this one. 4 shots on goal compared to 7 that St. Louis had, 12 shots off target compared to 3 that Chicago has. And you know how I said that Fire defense is non-existent? That also goes to say same in terms of, well, actually, no. Let me word this. I feel bad for Chris Brady in terms of the fact that yeah, he just got completely hung out to dry by the non-existent Fire defense. 12 shots off target for the 3 that the Fire has, 4 shots on blocked for the 5 that St. Louis had, and possession wise actually dead even 50% for both of these teams. But yeah, for St. Louis, they're probably very happy that for once they didn't draw a game and they're back on the winning column, even though they're facing against a Chicago side that any minute now you would think that maybe they'll start a run. I mean, you would think that would be the case, that they'll eventually do provide a spark, as it is the case usually around this time of the month. But Still doesn't seem like that's the case. It feels like this Fire team is basically just right now. As we head into past the third part of the season. With that being said, moving on in the next match. Wow, for the second week in a row, this caught me by surprise in terms of how the Quakes play, and I would say this game even caught me even in a bigger surprise than the one that they had against LAFC because they were down 2-0 in this game. Anytime when the Quakes are down 2-0 in the game, no matter if it's in the first half or the second half, it's done. They never come back. And yet, somehow, something crazy happened in this game that is kind of the reason why the Quakes came back to win against the Rapids and did it for the first time of what seemed like forever. Now, in the first half, Wilson would put one right to Stefan before Cabral would put it wide off a deflection, and then Navarro would score, will like get the Rapids a 1-0 lead. Once the offside flag came up, and this won't be the only time we would see the offside flag came up for a goal that was disallowed by the Rapids, or it would be the last time we would see a goal disallowed from the Rapids in this game. But that being said, I thought the Quakes defense pretty much they did not start on time in this one. Like it looked like in the beginning this was going to be one of those games where the Rapids are just going to mop the floor against the Quakes as it has been over the years. Cabral would then hit one right to Yarbrough in the 10th minute before Fernandez looked like he put the ball into the back of the net. But once again, the goal was chopped off because of offside. They did actually go to VAR to see whether or not if that is the case, and it was. So yeah, for the second time in this game, the Quakes got left off the hook, and I'm just thinking, yeah, this is just too good to be true. They're getting left off the hook way too much, and you just kind of had a feeling that eventually they're not going to get left off the hook, and their luck is going to run out. And it ran out in the 33rd minute. As in the 33rd minute, Navarro would score here from Mihajlovic to give Colorado a 1-0 lead. Then on the and then 7 minutes later, Yarbrough would deny Rosenberry from close range before Navarro would puts it high off of a deflection. And then in the 42nd minute, just like Navarro, who got his goal disallowed early and eventually scored, the same goes for Omir Fernandez. He scored here from Maxo and Cabral to make it 2-0 in favor of the Rapids. And I mean, bro, it's done. The Quakes are not going to come back. This is going to be an ugly game for the Quakes. But as soon as I wrote that, they scored the Quakes as Amal Pellegrino would get one back to make it 2-1 in this game. And then in the fourth minute stoppage time, it looked like Navarro would score again. I mean, honestly, if you don't count the disallowed goal, Navarro would have had a hat trick in this game. And it's hard to believe, but that goal that Rafael Navarro scored in the 33rd minute, that was his first goal that he have ever scored for the Rapids at home. So for all his goals that he have scored for the Rapids has come at home or on the road, or at least in open play. That is, that's the first open play goal he has scored at home before from the penalty spot. But at least in open play, he has never scored at home, and it's hard to believe he could have had a hat trick if it wasn't for the flag disallowing him because he was in an offside position. Well, in this moment, he was offside, and yeah, again, up to this point, this is when I feel like something is different in this game. Something is just not right about this game. The fact that the Quakes are getting so much luck in this game that you just feel like that luck is going to translate of them doing the unthinkable, and that of course is tied the game up and maybe even win this game. Well, lo and behold, that happened in the 6 minute stoppage time, and it's the new boy, Hernan Lopez. He scored from Costa and Espinoza to make it 2-2 in this one. I know it's early days, but Hernan Lopez is worth every single penny that the Quakes, of course, have paid. And something tells me that he can be just as good as when the Quakes decided to break the bank to get Christian Espinoza. And also, this just kind of shows you what a difference it makes when the Quakes finally decided to spend money and finally decided to get a DP10 that is kind of the missing piece of getting this attack to generate. But we do head to halftime, miraculously tied at two apiece. And in the second half, Navarro tried to score another, but he hits one right to Yarbrough before Espinoza puts it high from long range. Navarro then puts it wide from close in the 55th minute, as I thought it was a lively start in the second half. Both of these teams was pushing for the third goal. Lopez tried to do so, trying to score his second, and he was trying to chip Stefan. I mean, that was a bit ambitious to try to do that from the halfway line, but he didn't miss by much. But then the 66th minute, speaking of Christian Espinoza, he scored here from Costa to complete the comeback. And I mean, bro, this is too good to be true. Like this does not feel real. The fact that the Quakes could be 2-0 down on the road and playing a team that they just never win when they're on the road. And now they're leading 3-2 in this one. And even though that of course is the case, it maybe is too good to be true because that goal not only gave the Quakes the lead, but it feels like it boosted the defense. It felt like the Quakes defense were doing much better in terms of stopping the Rapids attack. Though I could also argue maybe it's the Rapids just completely feel deflated because I'm pretty sure they are them and the fans at EXG is probably stunned the fact that they blow a 2-0 lead against the Quakes of all team. Lewis then puts it wide from close range before Navarro puts it wide from close in the third minute stoppage time. I would also like to add that there was no point, even near the end of the game, where I thought I was really concerned that the Quakes were going to blow it. I mean, yes, the Rapids did create some chances. But this was probably the most comfortable and the most relaxed that I thought the Quakes were going to hold on to this win pretty much throughout this season and maybe in a long time under Lucci Gonzalez. Now, part of that is me kind of thinking, well, the shoe is eventually going to drop, isn't it? But it really felt like it was pretty comfortable for the Quakes to ride out this return. And again, it's just something that is completely against what the narrative and what you think that this team is because they came back and win 3-2 in this one. That's now 3 straight games that they have won in a row in all competition and four games unbeaten in all competition, going back to that 1-1 draw against Nashville. And the shots in this one, 14 shots with 11 that the Quakes had, 4 shots on goal for the 6 that the Rapids had, 4 shots off target for the 1 that the Quakes had, 6 shots that was blocked for the 4 that the Rapids had, and possession-wise, 61% possession for the 39% possession the Quakes has in this game. Now, I will also say that the Quakes maybe got lucky in this game with the amount of disallowed goal that has happened, and the defense is still pretty bad, and that's going to be maybe could still be something that hold back this Quakes team, and that there's no doubt that even with this good run, they're nowhere near the playoff line. The fact that they're showing life and that they're starting to be entertaining to watch again, that's all I ask for after just a disastrous start of the season that this team has had. But for the Rapids, yeah, I mean, this is a game this is a tough one to analyze for them because yes, they'll be very frustrated that they blow the lead, but they are very unlucky. The fact that they didn't get something out of this because they didn't really play that badly in this one, and especially with those disallowed goals, it's kind of unfortunate to have one disallowed goal, but when you have 3 of them, yeah, that's definitely tough luck. But that being said, you could also argue that when you can see 3 goals in any game, even if you're playing at home, you're not going to win a lot of game, even against a Quakes team that pretty much are just as bad defensively as some of these other bad defending team in MLS. But still, yeah, the Rapids they're gonna hope to try to bounce back and maybe find some positive because again, even in this loss, I don't think they played bad, and that's kind of the story for the Rapids this season. Even when they lose, I don't think they've been playing badly and just getting completely outplayed. With that being said, moving on in the next match is the Galaxy and RSL. So this was a game that I was very looking forward to because it's between 2 really good team in the Western Conference facing against each other, and there should be some entertainment that could be found, and there was. I mean, there was definitely some entertainment that is being found and some late drama as well in this game. But in the first half, Painso would have a shot that was blocked, but the Galaxy did get a second chance, and Yamane put this one into Rosette from long range, as I thought the Galaxy was on the front foot early. McMath denied Painso from close range before Joveljic had a shot that was deflected and goes wide. McMath then denied Yoshida from close range, as I thought the Galaxy was getting closer. But question is, can they get the breakthrough? Well, they don't. Instead, it's RSL the one that gets the breakthrough because, again, that's the story of this season. It doesn't matter how much you dominate, you're going to get sucker punch and the other team unexpectedly score a goal. And guess who? It's Chicho Arango. Continue his MVP candidate season from Catarnas to give RSL a 1-0 lead. That also was the first shot for RSL up to this point. And again, safe to say that was completely against the run of play Pooch then looked to try to answer, but he puts it wide from close range before Painso would hits one right to McMath. Pooch would then puts it wide from close again in the 27th minute. The shots were now 11-1 for the Galaxy up to this point, and yet RSL still has the lead. So kind of like your typical FIFA Ultimate Team bug that you see, where you dominate the opposition, and yet somehow you give up a goal in the only shot you're allowed, and you're down 1-0. And I gotta say that has to be very frustrating to feel. I mean, I'm pretty sure for anybody watching this and you play FIFA and play Ultimate Team, you know what it feels like when you dominate your opposition and yet you still find yourself down in a game. In the 36th minute, Luna would puts it wide from close. Before I fought or actually this is before when or not McNabb, McCarthy would deny Gomez after a bad turnover from the Galaxy, and I wrote the momentum was started to shift a little bit. It was like RSL started to gain control of this game and was pushing for the second goal. And they do get it. And guess what? It's that man again, Chicho Arango. He scored from Gomez and Crooks to give RSL a 2-0 lead. I mean, it's almost inevitable that Chicho Arango would score against the Galaxy. He seems to love to score against the Galaxy, even going back to his LAFC day and in that big El Tráfico affair. Gomez would then puts it wide from close range, and that, of course, came off of a turnover. Galaxy was having a lot of issue with that since giving up the opener. But we do head to halftime with RSL leading 2-0. In the second half, Peck puts it high from close, as once again I thought the Galaxy were on the front foot heading into the second half. And eventually they did score in the 54th minute as Gabriel Peck would score from Puig and Painso to make it 2-1 in this game. And of all the chances the Galaxy has had, this was probably one of the least likeliest one I think was going to go into the back net, mainly because yeah, Zach McMath would want to have this one back. I mean, this probably should have been safe from McMath. I mean, Peck kind of hit right to him, and he did get something out of it, just not enough to parry that one out of play. Brugman then hits it right to McMath before McCarthy on the other end denied Gomez from close range. Painso then puts it over from close range, and I thought the game started to really open up. And this is where it does not favor RSL, because this is exactly what the Galaxy wants to do. They love to have the game open up because they have some speedster, and especially that guy called Joseph Painso that is a track star right now, just running down the field, trying to create chances. And also, not to mention, when you're holding on to the lead, you do not want to make it get a track meet. You want to make the game slow down, but that's not how it is up to this point. Uju then puts it wide from long range, and really as the time winds down, you can definitely start to see RSL was trying to sit deep on a low block and maybe trying to see out this win. And while in some of these games I mentioned when teams try to do that, it works out. It doesn't always work out, and it didn't work out for RSL in this one because as we get close to the end of this game, Miguel Berry, of all player, would score from Fuchs to tie the game up at 2 apiece. I mean, I don't remember when's the last time Miguel Berry has scored a goal. I don't even think he scored a goal when he was with Atlanta United. But yeah, coming off the bench, score an unlikely hero to tie the game up at 2 apiece, and that would be the final score of this game. As the shots in this one, 26 shots for the 12 that RSL had, 7 shots on goal for the 4 that RSL had, 4 shots off target for the 6 that the Galaxy had, 11 shots that was blocked for the 4 that RSL had, and possession-wise, 52% possession compared to 48% possession that RSL has in this game. And I don't think either of these head coaches are necessarily happy coming out of this game. I mean, for the Galaxy, I know they did come from behind and salvage a draw, but they had so many chances in this game, and that they were just being clinical in this game, and also not to mention dropping points at home. And then RSL probably won't be happy because you had a 2-0 lead in this game. They gone a little bit too defensive, and when you do that, more times than not, you're gonna drop points when you're being too defensive. I mean, they'll be happy that at least they got a point out for this game, but yeah, blowing a 2-0 lead, especially giving up a goal late in the game, that's definitely not going to leave Pablo Mastroeni happy out of this game. But one thing I will say is it definitely leave the neutral happy because, again, this is what you expected when you have two really good teams that could be contender at the end of the season for the top spot in the Western Conference. With that being said, I am now going to switch boards and look at the last two games. Yes, we're finally now looking at the last two games. If you made it this far into the video, thank you for still watching. But obviously, if you just skip along with the timestamp that I have, that's also okay as well. But let's now finally talk about the last game of this mega review that I'm doing for match week number 12. So now getting into the last two games, we start off with LAFC and the Vancouver Whitecaps. And coming into this game, I talked about how important it is for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and that if they want to get some respect from the media and wants to kind of show that they are definitely a contender in the Western Conference, they need to maybe get a win or even a draw in this game in a very hostile environment against LAFC on the road. Yeah, safe to say that they definitely did not do that in this game. In fact, they pretty much did not showed up in this game against LAFC. Now, in the first half, Bawanga would puts it over from close range before Bogusz would fires it high from long range. Takaoka then denied Oliveira from close range. It was all LAFC early in this one as they were pressing for the opener. In fact, that would be the theme in this game. I mean, really, Vancouver was not in this game. Maybe until late in this one, when they were already down 3-0, and that LAFC was kind of starting to put their foot off the gas. But yeah, they were getting absolutely dominated in this game early on, and it kind of continued. Takaoka would deny Oliveira from close range, but it was Recycle, and Takaoka would also make another save to deny Campos from close range, and then he denied Bogusz from 17 in the 11th minute, as the shots were already 5-0 for LAFC 12 minutes in, and the shots on goal was already ready at free for LAFC. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, it's actually at 4 because I forgot the that in the 10th minute Tarquin has to make 2 save in this moment. So yeah, actually technically the shots should be 6-0 for LAFC. I mean, it was just a pretty much a dominant display here for LAFC. The first shot for Vancouver did see Lloris deny Pico from close range, but remember, as I said in previously, just because you're dominant against an opponent, we've seen this week where it doesn't really matter because the other team would somehow score a goal out of nowhere. But didn't happen in this game though, because after Bawanga hits it right to Takaoka in the 18th minute, TK Oliveira would score. As he scored here from Bawanga and Atuesta, there was a hint that maybe Oliveira was in an offside position, but they said it was a good goal. And yeah, LAFC well, he deserved a 1-0 lead. Pico did look to respond, but he puts it just high from close range. And then in the 36th minute, Oliveira has scored again. I mean, when has PK Oliveira all of a sudden started to be a goal scorer? I feel he was still snake bitten at times. I mean, to be fair, I'll give this to Kiko Oliveira. He's definitely shown to be more clinical recently, and I think part of that is because I think a couple of weeks when he finally scored his first goal of the season, he definitely felt more comfortable, and it felt like there's a monkey off his back. But yeah, he scored again here to make it 2-0. The assist goal from Bawanga, and really it was a carbon copy of the last goal. I mean, it was just a ball coming in to the box where Oliveira was on the doorstep and just gets an easy tap in. There was then a shout for a penalty for LAFC, but instead Bogusz, of course, gets a yellow card for simulation. So something tells me he's gonna get a mail on midweek from disciplinary committee about that, and also get a bit of a fine because of it. But we do head to halftime with LAFC leading 2-0, and then in the second half, 12 minutes in, it'll be 3-0 in favor of LAFC as Bogusz would score from Bawanga and Campos to make it 3-0. And again, it was very similar to the first two goals. Like all three goals that LAFC score is very similar, where it was just basically Bawanga delivering the ball into the box and his teammate just meets it, and Vancouver basically had no answer because of that. So yeah, that made it 3-0. Mwanga, of course, with a hat trick of assists. And again, for a guy that is not known for to be a playmaker, this was kind of impressive to see how Bawanga was almost operating like a Carlos Vela kind of role in this game. But yeah, that made it 3-0. Vite would then hit it right to Lloris in the 66th minute before Johnson would also hit it right to Lloris. And this is when you can start to see how AFC started to put their foot off the gas a little bit. And understandably, because they know that they're well in control of this one, and knowing they have a midweek game coming up, they want to maybe put the foot off the gas a little bit, not really go gung ho like they did throughout this game. But again, Vancouver finally got into this game. Again, part of that is because LAFC put their foot off their gas. White then hits it wide from close range before a goal would miss high from long range, and in the end, it was a comfortable 3-0 win for LAFC. Now the shots is kind of interesting. It says that Vancouver had more shots in this game against LAFC. I guess maybe because right near the end when Vancouver started having had those opportunity, the shots kind of start add up because that was not the case at least for the majority of this game. What is not wrong is the shots on goal, as LAFC had 8 shots on goal compared to 4 that Vancouver has. Literally 4 of them came in the first 15 minutes. 3 shots off target compared to 4 that Vancouver has. 6 shots that was blocked compared to 3 that LAFC had. And possession wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession that Vancouver has in this game. And yeah, overall, very easy win here for LAFC. And again, this is not gonna do Vancouver any favor off the fact that they really need this statement win. They really need this win against one of the better team in the West or even in the East to really solidify that yeah, we can definitely go toe to toe with some of these playoff contenders. Because it's one thing to take advantage of playing easy opponent and getting points. It's another if you do face against these tough teams, because these are probably going to be the team that you're going to face in the playoffs, and if you're not able to beat them, you could be one and done in the playoffs, and that's certainly something that Vanni Sartini and this Whitecaps team definitely do not want to do because they've been one and done in the playoffs for the last couple of times when they made it to the playoffs. But that being said, finally getting into the final game, and I'm pretty sure you've been waiting for me to talk about this game, or you probably just click on the timestamp and basically want me to talk about the Cascadia Derby or the Hell is Real Derby, as I also have a timestamp for that. Is none other than as I said, the Cascadia Derby between the Sounders and the Timbers, also known as the Desperation Derby, because coming into this game, these two teams were actually at the bottom of the standings because of all the resort that's happened on Saturday. So yeah, safe to say that both of these teams desperately need a win. And in the end, it's the Seattle Sounders, the one that gets the win, and also ending that unbeaten streak that the Timbers had against the Sounders in the Cascadia Derby. That I think it was like 6 games unbeaten streak that the Timbers had against the Sounders. The first shot of the game did see Rodriguez puts it over from a header before Rui Diaz tried to chip Crepeau, but Crepeau was having none of it. I mean, it wasn't really one that Crepeau was caught off guard whatsoever. There was a couple of good chances early in this Cascadia derby, which is something that I didn't think that I was expecting because for a grand affair like the Cascadia derby, these last couple of ones has been a little bit dull, and that I thought I was going to be in for one, especially with both of these teams kind of haven't been that good on the attacking end and haven't really been performing very well, but that being said, there was goals at least were found early in this game, as in the 15th minute, Felipe Mora would score from Rodriguez and Zuperich to give the Timbers a 1-0 lead. That lead would last 4 minutes because in the 19th minute, Christian Rodon would score from Rusnak and Alex Rodon, and it also took a wicket deflection there, which again, that is something that the Sounders would absolutely want to take because they've been getting no luck this season when it comes to in front of goal and especially those wicket deflection. But they'll take it. That ties the game up at 1 apiece, and I thought maybe this could be a high scoring game. I don't know why I wrote that because that felt like it was just a kiss of death, and it just kind of turns out that the rest of this game, yeah, it wasn't really that. Rui Diaz then had a shot that took 2 deflection, but this time it went wide. Before Morris would hits it right to Crepeau, and then on the other end, Anthony would puts it wide after just a simple route one ball. So yeah, I would also say that the Sounders were having problem in terms of dealing with those long balls. The Timbers were doing a good job in terms of creating most of their chances for those long balls, and that's something the Sounders kind of have to figure out. They eventually did figure out though as the game goes along. Rodriguez then puts it over on the volley before Moreno puts it wide from close range, and we do head to halftime with the score tied up at 1 apiece. It wouldn't stay tied for long in the second half, as in the 50th minute, guess who? It's Raul Ruiz. He's inevitable when it comes to the Cascadia Derby. He just loved to face against the Timbers, as he scored here from Vargas and Rodon, and what a goal this was. If this is going to be his final Cascadia Derby, well, actually, it won't be because they're going to play two more time. But if this is his final goal that he'll score in the Cascadia Derby against the Portland Timbers, what a way to do so too of an absolute amazing bang of a long range goal. But also that's his 13th goal against the Portland Timbers. Like he is just an absolute killer for for a Timbers fan. Like I'm pretty sure when you mention the name Raul Ruidiaz in Timbers fan base, yeah, a lot there's gonna be a lot of nervous energy because of how much he's just been an absolute Timbers killer over the years. And then he tried to do it again from long range just 2 minutes later, but this time it hits right to Crepeau. We then had some coming together between both of these teams, which and then there's some typical Derby physical play started to pick up in this game. There really hasn't been a lot of chances that was generated by either of these teams, which I thought at that point kind of favorites the Seattle Sounders because they want to keep this game close. Moreno would then hits one right to Fry before Moreno puts it wide from long range as the Timbers were pushing late for the equalizer. The Sounders seems to be bunkering and hope to try to get that big Derby win. And they do, as in the end, they get the Cascadia Derby win. They win 2-1 in this one, and the shots in this one, again, not really a lot of shots. 9 shots compared to 7 that the Sounders had. 5 shots on goal compared to 2 that the Timbers had. 6 shots off target compared to none that the Sounders had. 2 shots that was blocked compared to 1 that the Timbers had. And possession-wise, 54% possession compared to the 46% possession the Sounders had. At that time when the Portland Timbers were at the top of the standings 3 weeks into the season, they're now at the bottom of the Western Conference. And yeah, the heat is definitely on Phil Neville too. I mean, I mentioned before how Phil Neville wasn't really a popular hire. This is kind of something you usually see doing his time with Inter Miami, where for every good run that he has with Miami, it would be a long stretch where there would be a bad run. It feels like it's starting to be the same case for him and doing his time with the Timbers. Although the defense doesn't help. I mean, the defense once again a huge issue for the Timbers for throughout this game, and that yeah, again they something's got to change for this team. This is a team that has aspiration to do well, and right now they could have one of the worst seasons that they have ever had in MLS history. But that being said, we're done. We have reached the end of this video, and as always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of this epic review that I did. I'll probably do it again in terms of the midweek action because as I'll talk about in the preview, I'm actually going to be going to Minnesota to watch the game between the Loons and the Galaxy. I'm excited about that one because that should be a really tasty affair between two really good teams in the Western Conference. But yeah, after I come back from that one, I probably won't do the review from a hotel. I'm actually going to be coming back here in the Bay pretty early, so I'll probably do the review and just do a massive review for the midweek action, just like here. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you like, smash the subscribe button. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of this mega review that I've done. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.